What's up, real wood climbers? Welcome back to another video here on the channel. I'm so glad you chose to click on this video. Today we're going to be revisiting one of the apps that I use for the spray walls. And so I'll just say this real quick here, that this app that we're going to be talking about today has quickly become my favorite out of all of the spray wall apps. So without further ado, we're going to be revisiting the app called Crux. I did do a video on Crux already where I was just trying out for the first time, and I do walk through kind of a lot of the basics, and it was a very good app already. So if you haven't already seen that video, I'm going to put a link down in the description below. Make sure you check that one out, because in this video I'm not going to be going back and rehashing the basics that I already did in that video. I'm just going to be going over the new features, and in particular I'm going over the features that I had mentioned in that video that I felt it was missing or that would make the app better. And what blows me away is I had no idea that they were going to see my video and even care about my input. But it's pretty cool that the Crux team actually took what I said and built the things that I was asking for, which has really positioned Crux to be, in my opinion, right now the best of the spray wall apps. So go ahead and pull up my phone here on the side and we'll jump into the Crux app. So this here is my wall. One of the things that I didn't really spend a ton of time talking about in the last video is the charts and graphs. And so now you can kind of see I have a bit more in the charts and graphs side of things. It even has this spiderweb kind of graph that goes over the number of climbs that you've done in each of the different styles that you can find in the tags. So that leads me to talking about the first of the new features that I want to mention to you guys. And I only mentioned this thing in passing when I was doing my original video. One of the downfalls of some of the other apps that I had found was that they had tags, so you could tag a climb that has a certain style, but it was missing like a lot of the different grip types. So it would say something was juggy or crimpy, but it didn't have pockets or it didn't have pinches or something like that. And so when I first came across Crux, it did have more of those hold types, but I just kind of mentioned in passing that it would be nice if there were some other types of tags like tension or footwork or things like that. What's cool is if I go into settings, now there is a spot right here, the second one down, for climbing tags. And so now you can build your own tags. So for instance, I really want one that mentions tension. It's where you got to keep really good tension. So I can create that one. I think another one that I would really like is footwork. Really techie footwork or something like that. So now I've added two new tags, and I can go into any of my climbs. Let's say that this one right here is going to be very tensiony. Edit the climb. Yeah, and so when I edit the climb, I can come into tags, and now down on the bottom is any of the ones that I have. So for instance, I would say that that is tensiony. You know, another good one would be maybe be balance, things like that. So now I can add tension. So now when I come back to all my climbs, I can come up here and I can sort by climbs that have tension, and I'm only going to see those climbs. So I think that's really, really cool that you can customize the tags that you want to use. It does not add it to the spider graph. My guess is just because the spider graph is already programmed a certain way, but still, being able to add your own tags is really, really cool. This next feature I'm going to talk about was actually, to me, the most important, and that was the ability to let other people set climbs on my wall without having to be here, without having to designate these 3 or 4 or 5 people that are allowed to. That was one of the features that I really liked about RetroFlash, because it allowed the community to set climbs for you. So that being said, the Crux team took that and they ran with it, and they made it now possible. So I'm going to actually demonstrate this. I have a friend of mine, Christian. His wall is called Spray and Pray, and Christian, thanks so much for opening up your wall to be public for me and for being part of the Real Wood Climbers community. So now that I've pull up his wall, he has already set it to be public. So that means that I can come in to climbs, I can see the climbs, and now when I click on the plus sign, I can set climbs on his wall. Now, Christian had to do some legwork in advance. He had to set up a wall because I can't take a photo. So the only choices I have is to use a saved wall. So he went in and did the work to set up this saved wall. So now I can click on his wall. So I have the magic wand icon up there, and now I can zoom in and I can set climbs on his wall, and I'm nowhere near where he lives. So let's go ahead and do one of these quick. So we'll give him a couple footholds to start with. We'll set him something crimpy here. So hope you like crimps there, Christian. The other thing that you probably saw is they've added in a feature where you can designate left hand, right hand, left foot, right foot. So if that is something where you want to designate the hold sequence in the order, you can be that specific. But that looks like a pretty good climb based on that wall. Click go and give it a name. Enjoy. And I don't know the grade because I don't know exactly how these holds are going to feel on this angle, so I'm going to leave it ungraded for him. But we can go ahead and give it some tags, and we're going to say that this is crimpy and it's on an overhang. Oh, and it looks like he's already added some of his own tags. Staple, pump. So, but I think those two make sense. And we'll post that climb. So I'm going to head back to my wall, and that way I can show you how to set up your wall to be public. So you're going to come into general settings and wall info, and down here there's now a new checkbox that says allow anyone to set climbs. You also have that ability to turn on and off the right left holds on your wall. And if I wanted to, I could set it so that you could only use the saved walls, meaning that I couldn't take a new picture, or somebody that was physically here couldn't take a new picture. But I'll go ahead and leave that. That's the first step of the process. And then you have to go into this feature right here where it says new gym walls, and you have to set up your wall. So I've already set up my 30-degree wall with the settings, and I can always go in and make adjustments and fine tune it. So this brings me to another feature that I kind of mentioned in my video that it would be nice if it was able to do, and that was to take a scan, because the scanning feature is phenomenal. It's so stinking fast. To take a scan, but to be able to manually add holds that maybe the scan missed because of a camera angle or something like that. So now we have the ability to do that with these saved walls. So I'm going to now just add my 20-degree wall. So I'm going to upload a photo from the gallery. All right, so here's the image there. That's just my 20-degree wall. And it's going to do that initial scan right away. Okay, so it's asking me right off the bat, does it look like it found everything? And oh, by the way, don't worry, false positives are okay and can be ignored. So that being said, a false positive would be like it's showing what looks like a hold, but it's not really a hold. I found that the tape that was on my wall is sometimes triggered as a hold, or in this case, if I zoom in, I have some overhead lights that it's cueing as a hold. But I'm going to go ahead and just say, yes, it looks good, because I can always fine tune it. So edit the wall gives me some pointers. I got the pan and zoom mode. I have the pen tool that is going to allow me to draw, and then I can delete holds that are wrong. So for instance, I'm going to go ahead and delete that light right there and that piece of tape right there. But that piece of tape is actually pointing to a hold, so now I can zoom in really far, get the pen tool, and just draw my own circle around this hold. Bada bing. Now when I click save, that one's going to be there. Looks like I've got another hold over here that the scan missed. That's okay. Here's a thing that's not a hold. It's just a beam. So these ones that are on the arete, it was hard for the camera angle to catch, but I really love that now I can custom fit this. And again, it said don't worry about these false positives, but I don't know, I just like it to look really clean. That's a chair. But all that is a chair. But I see now that there's a, oops, undo that. Do have a yellow hold right here. I mean, this is just super cool. So I could go in and nitpick this if I wanted to, but it's pretty dang amazing. Okay, yeah, and then so this is a hold that is I like to use as a hold. These bars here. I'm just really pleased with this. So when I like it, I just hit save, and we'll call this RWC 20 degrees. So now that my wall has been set to public so you guys can set, and I've built out these two walls, I'm once again going to be asking you if you would download the Crux app, search for RWC HQ, so Real World Climbing Headquarters, and pick these two walls and set some climbs for me. I'm just now getting back into climbing, and I think it would be amazing to have a whole library of climbs that you, the viewers, have set for me to try when I'm ready to get back to doing some hard bouldering, because I'm probably guessing you're going to set some hard things. So once again, big shout out and big thanks to Crux. Make sure you download their app. I'll put links to the Apple Store and the Google Play Store down below. Download their app, check it out, use it for your own home wall, but definitely consider setting some climbs for me. I would greatly appreciate it. That wraps this up. If you had a good time here, make sure you give the video a thumbs up to tell the algorithm that you liked it. And make sure that if you are not already subscribed, that you go ahead and clip the chains on that subscribe button. Join this community. I'll see you real soon.